Hey guys, it's Owen from Wrestling Inc. back with another wrestling news roundup. Without any further ado, let's get into today's biggest stories in the world of professional wrestling. The latest on why Naomi and Sasha Banks walked out of WWE Raw. Less than 24 hours later, the story of Naomi and Sasha Banks walking out on WWE Monday Night Raw continues to dominate headlines. Now, a new report is providing insight as to why the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions made their decision. Early this morning, PW Insider revealed that several sources had told them that the original plan for Banks and Naomi on Raw, a six-pack challenge for the right to face Bianca Belair for the WWE Raw Women's Championship at Hell in a Cell, would have seen Naomi pin Sasha Banks to win the match and receive the title shot. Furthermore, Banks and Naomi were to have been featured in several segments building to them facing off in the match. Post-main event, the partners would have celebrated Naomi's victory. Sources say Naomi would go on to lose to Belair at Hell in a Cell. Though not confirmed, it was also noted that some sources believed that Sasha Banks would go on to face WWE SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey at the same event, with Banks also losing. It was also noted that this led to concerns from Banks and Naomi regarding creativity over the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, and later in the afternoon an alternative idea was pitched that would have seen Banks and Naomi lose a short tag match to set up their next challengers. While PW Insider couldn't confirm it 100%, they noted one source told them the planned opponents were Doudrop and Nikki ASH, who at one point were also scheduled for the six-pack challenge. The report goes on to say that Sasha Banks and Naomi were told before Raw by producer Molly Holly that WWE was going forward with plans for the six-pack challenge. This then led to Banks and Naomi informing WWE Executive Vice President of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis that they were leaving, giving him the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships in the process. The report echoes WWE's statement regarding the matter during Monday Night Raw on Monday. From there, it was said that Vince McMahon was informed of Banks and Naomi's departure either shortly before or shortly after Raw began. A backstage vignette between Becky Lynch and Adam Pearce setting up Asuka and Lynch as the main event was pitched on the spot, with McMahon approving of it. One source suggested it was Lynch that came up with the idea for the segment. Finally, those backstage at WWE apparently did not believe that Naomi or Sasha Banks took issue with the finish to the six-pack challenge, but rather the duo's creative going forward as the Women's Tag Team Champions. It should be noted that PW Insider's report seems to confirm a Twitter thread from user at Adidas_head88 from last night regarding the situation. The thread stated that Banks and Naomi had been upset with WWE for some time due to the promotion's handling of the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, which the duo won at WrestleMania 38. As of the time of this recording, neither Naomi nor Sasha Banks has commented on their walkout or WWE's statement regarding their walkout either. Wrestling Inc. will continue to provide coverage of this developing story. WWE Raw ratings up from last week without NBA playoff competition. WWE Raw on the USA Network this past Monday night saw a minor ratings increase from last week. Raw averaged 1.736 million viewers this past Monday night, according to Showbuzz Daily. The audience was up 5% from last week. However, last week's episode faced competition from the NBA playoffs. It was the best audience for a show since the April 11th episode, which was the last time it did not face competition from the NBA playoffs. Raw was easily the number one show on cable in the 18 to 49 demographic with a 0.45 rating. The rating was up 2.3% from last week. It was the best demo rating for Raw since the April 18 episode, which was opposed by the NBA playoffs. The Cody countdown seemed to work as the third hour 18 to 49 rating beat the first hour and was tied with the second, which is rare. The first hour averaged 1.749 million viewers with a 0.44 18 to 49 rating, while the second scored 1.816 million viewers with a 0.46, while the third garnered 1.646 million viewers with a 0.46. The overall audience drop of 5.9% from hour 1 to hour 3 was bigger than last week, but it was the fourth smallest so far this year. Year over year, Raw was also down 4.8% in total viewers, while the key demographic rating was down 6.3%. Last year's episode also did not face any significant sports competition. CM Punk fires back at Matt Cardona over Sasha Banks' Naomi tweet. As the wrestling world continues to react to Naomi and Sasha Banks walking out on WWE Monday Night Raw this week and their reasons for doing so, Matt Cardona has decided to comment on the situation. On Twitter early Tuesday afternoon, the reigning NWA World Heavyweight Champion alluded to Naomi and Banks' situation while joking about his past creative issues in WWE. Quote, "If I could go back in time, the night I was pushed off the stage in a wheelchair on Raw, I should have walked into Johnny Ace's office, placed my neck brace on the table and walked out because I wasn't being respected enough as internet champion," Cardona tweeted. Some did not take Matt Cardona's comments well, most notably CM Punk. The AEW star offered a blunt rebuke to Cardona's tweets only half an hour later. Quote, "If you'd go back in time to stand up for yourself, you should stand up for the workers now," Punk tweeted. Punk's comments were echoed by fellow AEW star Dax Harwood, who at first simply added, quote, "100%, end quote. Harwood then tweeted again in support of Banks, including a picture of the two, along with Harwood's FTR teammate Cash Wheeler. Harwood, Wheeler, and Banks, along with Banks' former tag team partner Bayley, are known to be longtime friends from their time together in WWE. Quote, "Always, always, always stand up for what you believe in," Harwood tweeted, quote, "effing always." At this time, Matt Cardona hasn't responded to either Punk's or Harwood's tweets. Cody Rhodes confirms WWE is making temporary neck tattoos. From the moment Cody Rhodes had it done, his infamous nightmare neck tattoo has proven to be controversial. Rhodes recently discussed the tattoo with Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated. Despite the prominence of the tattoo on his body, Rhodes told Barrasso that nobody in WWE has had a problem with it. The American Nightmare clearly expected some kind of backstage reaction to his new ink upon his return to the company, at the very least from his former Legacy stablemate Randy Orton. Quote, "Vince hasn't said anything about the tattoo," Rhodes says. "I've been waiting for some of these guys who knew me back in the day to say something, specifically Bruce and Michael Hayes. Even Randy hasn't said anything, and that was a shock to me because I wasn't a tattoo guy and he was covered, but it's a good thing to have." Not only did WWE not have an issue with the Nightmare family tattoo, Rhodes revealed to Barrasso that WWE is planning on monetizing it, something that his former employer All Elite Wrestling never ended up doing. Vince McMahon, on the other hand, has never seen a merchandising opportunity he didn't like, and Rhodes claims that WWE will be selling temporary tattoos, allowing fans to wear his chosen symbol themselves in the future. Quote, "Temporary tattoos are going to be released by WWE Shop, and people now see it as an extension of me," Rhodes said. "That's what it is. When I was here before, everyone tried to tell me who I was. That wasn't a bad thing. I was searching too. Now I'm reaching my final form. That's why I'm sticking to my guns about my character, keeping it as close as possible to who I am. But I'll promise you this, I'm not getting another one." So what are your thoughts on today's Wrestling News Roundup? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestling Inc. and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.